Hey everybody, I'm Scott with Starkey Family, Fixing Rigging Up. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure you got your notifications turned on. That way you get notified when I put out my next video. Now today, I got a problem. If you watched my prior video, when I was changing out an airbag on the trailer, my shocks are pulled apart, and they're really bad. Like, let's get to it. Let me show you how bad they really are. Okay, so I'm underneath the trailer, and here's what the problem is. Now, I will have to take the tires off to get to the other side here. And the reason being is they've got this ran through, and it's real close to this other stud coming down. So this will have to be my wrench side, and the other side will have to be my impact side. Now, here's the reasoning why we're changing out the shock. When I was changing out my airbag, as you can see, I came under here and I saw that the shock was actually broke. And when I mean broke, I mean it's severed, which we can't go down the road like that, okay? One, it's a really bad ride, and two, if I got pulled over for an inspection, this is a major no-no. So let me go ahead and get the tires off of here, and then we'll start taking this shock off. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to the lug nuts. Now with the tires off, you can see that I have limited access in here, but I can actually get my extension with a socket in there, and the way this lines up, I'm actually around that bolt, so I should be okay. Okay, so this is how the wrench is going to go on the other side, but right now I'm by myself, so I'm hoping that once I get that impact on it, the wrench will twist up and lock itself in place on the frame until I can get this unscrewed. So we'll see what happens. Chances are though, the vibration may actually cause the wrench to move. So let's try this out, see what happens. Absolutely nothing. That's why I shorten this up, getting rid of the extension. I'm going to see if this will help. Okay, let's try a different wrench. So the top one, it's stuck. We absolutely cannot get this, so I'm going to have to cut this thing here off apparently. But let me go ahead and see if I can get the bottom one out here. Okay, that's good. At least the bottom proportion is going to come out. Yeah, looks like I have to get the hammer and pry bar on that. Okay, so let's try and get this thing out here. This is the bottom section. I think I'm going to have to hammer this in place. Okay, so we'll just leave that washer on there. Not much left of it, is there? I don't know if I got enough force to do this or not. Nope. I'm gonna have to just go and cut it off. Okay, so unfortunately here we are. We gotta cut this shock off. Now keep in mind that the guts on mine are actually already falling apart, so there's no gas inside of these. If you go cutting in one that has not been released on the gas already, that shock's gonna blow as soon as you get sparks. So I'm gonna be cutting this off, but make sure you don't cut one off if the guts are intact, okay? Because I don't want to see it, I don't want to hear of anyone getting hurt. And I'm using a cutoff disc also, and I've got leather gloves, but this cutoff wheel, if it got out of hand, it could cut my finger off very easy. Then you're gonna have the sparks that you'll see. See if I can force this thing apart a little bit here. And it looks like it needs to come apart a little bit more. Let me see if I can get this to stretch out with the hammer. Okay, maybe my cutoff saw can reach out inside there. Let me try to smash this in a little bit here. So I'll show you what's left of the shocks. Okay. Okay, so here's what's left of the shock. Not a whole lot, is there? Okay, so I want to show you what I'm trying to do here. You see how on each side of this you've got rubber, okay? On each side of this right here there's rubber, and I can wiggle that just a little bit there. But I'm gonna have to take my cutoff saw and let the wheel get up in here and cut this bolt in half so I can actually get it off there. And then of course we're gonna have to buy a new bolt. Okay, let's go ahead and cut this bolt off here. Okay, that bolt just popped off, so that should be free now, but now we gotta get that out of there. Here we go. What's left of the shock. Okay, so I wanted to show you the shocks that I actually picked out for this trailer. This is a Gabriel Fleet Line. The part number on this is 85,000 HD. So these right here are what I actually picked up. They look nice. They're a heavy duty shock. They should actually work pretty decent on here. So let's get back underneath it here. So I wanted to show you this. Okay. Now you see how there's a big gap right here from where the shock needs to be. Now from down here I can barely pull that thing apart, okay, to actually reach up there. So before you come underneath with a shock that you're going to be installing under here, I want to show you something that's actually just going to make it a little bit easier on you. So let me come outside the trailer. So what you're wanting to do is take your shock, and it doesn't matter which side as long as you got the holes in there, okay? Just put a bolt in there. Don't have to be tight. Put it on your rub rail, and now extend that thing all the way out. And there you go. Your shock is all the way pulled out. Now, I wanted to show you this. It's easier to push it back together. As you can see, it takes hardly any force at all. So go ahead. This is where it takes a lot of force to actually pull apart. So just pull your shock all the way apart, Now you're ready to go underneath and put your shock on.
Okay, so I want to explain this because if you don't know, then you don't know. You see this right here? This is where the last shock was actually rubbing. Well, every time it would come down, it would just kind of rub. And you see the rust mark, and there's like a little indentation here where it did that over a period of time. Well, I didn't put that on there, the previous owner of the trailer did. When you do a shock on these type of little shanks that come out here, or old studs, whatever you want to call them, you have to actually put spacers on them, okay? Now, your trailer could differ from mine. Now, I looked at mine, I'm gonna need 2 washers, and what that's gonna do is, when I put this up here and I mount it up here, that is actually bringing this shock away from this cross member, or this little section of my suspension. Now, this right here you don't want rubbing, but you really don't want the top part of this coming down and breaking and shattering. Okay, that would be very, very, very bad. So what you're going to do is, now I showed you before how you actually pull this down. It's a lot easier to do this. So basically you just want to line this up, and if you're really not sure, go ahead and pull it down and see if it's actually going to rub when you mount this into place. Okay, now that's what I did. Now you're also going to put another washer on the side. Okay, that keeps it lined up and keeps it mobile. That way this is going to turn inside of here, and you don't want the nut constantly turning with it, because, well, it'll eventually loosen itself up. And that's getting to another point. These nuts are special. Okay, these right here, when you put them on, this end section here actually will cut the threads on this stud, locking it into place, making it very, very difficult for it actually to come back off. And I can only put that on there a little bit with my hand, and it already starts to tighten up. What I'll do is I'm going to leave this a little bit loose until I get the top part in. It's now time to pull this down. And as you see, it comes very, very easy. And now we're just going to put this in between here. Now you may have to take a hammer and tap it down in there. Yes, I got water dripping from my hammer from the rain. Now you can shove a screwdriver or something like that. This right here is, I had this adjustable wrench back when I did that construction iron work. This actually helps you to line up the holes. So I just take this and pull it into place, and that just simply lines up the hole so I can put the bolt in. If you don't have one of these, just use a punch or a really thick screwdriver. Okay, let me go put this in there. Now I can't get it all the way through with my hand, but as you see, I did get the edge. So let me go out there and tap the bolt in with a hammer. And I got it close anyways with that line-up tool. But as you can see, it's now through there. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tap it just a little bit out. That's going to give me a little bit of room here to get this nut in. Okay, I got that about head and tight, and then the bolt actually started spinning a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is, it's time to tighten this up. So I'm actually going to use an impact on the top of this, and then I'm going to come down and tighten the bottom. Okay, so I've got to actually impact this from the outside. Because of these frame bolts here, I actually have to use the open end of the wrench. Okay, so that's now tight. Okay, so I impacted the top. I impacted the bottom there. I thought I had my camera rolling when I impacted, but I didn't. Anyways, I just want to go over this with you again. Make sure you stretch your shock out before you bring it underneath. Make sure you have the model number of the shock, the type of shock, everything, where you can actually see it. That way, once it comes time to actually replace your shock, you can come under here and say, hey, I've got an 85,000 series Gabriel HD. No problem at all. Because sometimes what happens is if you put these on the other side and then years go by, you have problem actually matching up shocks for your trailer. One of the problems I've actually come across with this particular trailer, it is a Benson trailer, but it's when Benson was actually their own company. So Transcraft and I think it's Wabash, they came in and bought Benson a long time ago, and one of the bad things is you can still get Benson trailers, but if you're like me and you have an older trailer, then it's a lot harder to get parts because, well, the VIN number, most time you can use your VIN number to get parts. Well, I've already tried to get in parts a few different times on here using the VIN number, and I'm out of luck. So that's why I'm saying parts like this right here, make sure you can see what they are, because you may not be able to order them using the VIN number. Now I still got to put everything back together. I still got to put the tires on this side here on the driver's side, and then I've got to switch back over and put them, or take the tires off on the passenger side and finish putting the shock on the other side, because I did both of them. But on this video, I'm just going to show you me doing one of them to cut down on the time, so it's not the same thing repetitive. But anyways, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure you have your notifications turned on. That way you get notified when I make my next video. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've done this and saved yourself some money instead of going somewhere and, you know, forked out a bunch of money to get shocks replaced. Follow my lessons. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.